morning, Avigilon Partners. This is Nathan Schroeder, Senior Sales Director for the Southeast North America. Thank you very much for attending. If you could, show of hands, let me make sure that you hear me loud and clear. All right, excellent. Well, thank you for joining again today. Today, a lot of times my topics kind of come through meetings I have with you partners and end users. And last week I was lucky enough to attend a seminar that one of our partners put together with a lot of his end users. So there were about 40 end users in the room. And I went through a presentation on what was new with Avigilon. And they wanted me to dive into some of the basics around ACC, and they really focused on search. And I was kind of surprised that the end users in the room didn't really understand all the different ways we can search for video. So that kind of got me thinking this is something we should really address with you as a team, because when I started to look at this, I realized Avigilon has so many ways to search for video very, very quickly. And I asked the audience, I said, well, what kind of searches do you typically do? And most of them, believe it or not, were just scrubbing the timeline, because we make it very easy to grab a timeline and then just scrub through it and look for activity. So that's what I'm going to cover today. The presentation is in the handout section so that you can easily find it and download it. I also left our latest price sheet in there as well at MSRP, so you can pull that down as well. Please stick with me on this, because even if you're a longtime user of Avigilon as a salesperson, if you take this presentation and you sit down in front of a potential client, every time I ever talk to an end user, they will talk about how difficult it is to search for other video with other companies. So stick with me on this through this. I think it's going to be very informative for you. We have a lot to cover. I do like to always touch on this because it's important. It's very near and dear to all Avigilon people. We really do believe that our system creates a safer and more secure environment for what we're trying to protect most. What's most valuable? People, guests that come to your facility, and then of course your assets. We believe that. You can show it. Hang with my throat as well. I've got just a little cold, so I'm going to work my way through this. We're a complete system end to end. I always like to talk about that because it makes a big difference. Everything from software to storage to cameras to analytics, and we're going to use some of that today in our searches. So here we go. Thumbnail search is one that I always talk about as the best way to search for long periods of time, to find something that's unusual, something that's different. And I don't know when it happened. So you basically are just picking the camera where the event happens, select the start and stop time, hit the search, and then you're going to be presented the information in a storyboard. If you haven't shown that to people, it's a great tool. I was surprised that a lot of people hadn't seen this search, because we do usually show this very often. The Avigilon team pushes this a lot. The next one is a pretty basic motion search. Every camera in the industry does this, where we're just searching for any kind of change in the scene. It's not really a very good search, but we do have it as a way to do it. You draw a region of interest. You select the camera, draw a region, select the time. The results are actually presented in a list for you. You can see that at the bottom right where my cursor is. And then you can just scroll down and click each one of the events. You'll notice I just did a quick screenshot of an area that I was looking for activity in, and it showed me 54 results. And that was because it's looking for any kind of change. So it doesn't really focus on the type of object. It's just looking for any kind of change. So if you've got a dynamic area, trees, things going on, this is not a very good search, because it's going to take you forever to find what you're looking for. Step up from that, I could create the same kind of region of interest, but now I'm doing a classified object search. This is where I can actually tell it I'm looking for a classified object, human or vehicle, and then create my region. And you can see the results here drop down to 13. Time allowing, I'm going to go through each of these and just show you a live one. So that was a much quicker, more refined search. Unusual motion, you've heard about, we've talked about it a lot. This is another search we have. This is where the cameras are just learning the environment, and then if it sees anything that's unusual in terms of speed, direction, location on the screen, it's going to tag that, and then you could, of course, go in and say, show me unusual events, and it's going to just filter that all the way down for you, make it very, very quick for you to find an unusual event. Now, if you're not aware of this, unusual motion detection comes with every camera we make, even the little mini domes, our analytic cameras. Now, today, you have to choose on an analytic camera whether you're going to use the analytics or you're going to use unusual motion. I'll talk about a way around that a little later, but right now, unusual motion is a quick way to present to the operator only what's different, what it sees as unusual. Appearance search, I've talked about it on many presentations. There's really two types. One is a physical description, and then one is me finding a person in recorded evidence and then finding those people. So it is a very quick way to reduce that step of trying to search through something, because it's doing all the time scrubbing. It's finding that person of interest. Now, of course, you have to have our analytic cameras and a server that's got the GPU processing board in it. But when, time is critical, this is going to find that person or that vehicle very, very quick. That's what this is all about. I'm sure many of you have seen this slide. For those of you that haven't, we're able to find a person simply by, initiate a search simply by putting in physical descriptors, male, blue jacket, gray pants, go find them. Or I can see that person in recorded evidence, click on that person and say, go find them before or after this point in time. Those are the two ways. We have added to this adult child now. So we say age, I would rather just say adult child because we're not differentiating between the ages. It's either adult size object or a child size. Now, appearance search, you're thinking, well, Nathan, I can't replace all my cameras. I've got to, use the cameras I've got. Customer's not going to let me just flip all this out. Well, now we have an appliance, the AI appliance that you can drop into an existing system, whether you're using old NVR3s, an appliance of ours, or the NVR4s. All you do is drop in this AI appliance, and it's going to put that metadata onto whatever streams of video that you want to do appearance search. There's two models, one that can handle 30 cameras, one that can handle 60. If you haven't heard about this, please reach out to your regional managers, your regional directors, your sales engineers, and get them to talk to you about this, because this adds a lot of value to a customer of yours that may have been using, has had Avigilon for some time, and is not using the analytics that we've got. It makes it easy for them to make that update. It's also a great tool for you to use if you're walking into an account that is using a third-party system that's not Avigilon, and you're trying to flip them over to Avigilon. In that case, you want to leave their cameras in place. You're not trying to change third-party cameras out. Hopefully you can use the storage that they have already, and all you're doing is flipping software and dropping in this appliance, and you're making it now a smart Avigilon system. Okay. And that's the capabilities. Obviously, we can take these AI analytics and drop them onto any of our cameras, right? I mentioned that you have to select UMD or the analytics in the camera. That is, if it's an analytic camera, you get to select, I want to do the analytics, which allows me to do appearance search and understand if a person is in a region of interest, things like that. But if I want UMD also, when I drop in this analytic appliance, I can have the camera do UMD and the appliance provide the AI, the analytics for appearance search on the same camera. So if I have a very high threat level, a customer that's got some real concerns, I can provide both capabilities. And all we're doing is grabbing or taking that metadata and delivering it through that AI appliance to the video that is on those existing servers. We've now gone into some subtypes of vehicles, if you're not aware of that. So now you can actually go in and you can select person, vehicle, and under vehicle, you see some new categories, which allow you to search for those categories. I've had a lot of people ask for things like that, and we just continue to improve the search over and over. got some additional descriptors. You know, you can see that was the drop down, the previous menu. When you're doing an appearance search and you pull up the appearance search window, this is where you're just selecting people or vehicles, and then you can go in and select, and you can select color. Very helpful. This came up in the presentation I did last week as well. They asked, because there was some law enforcement in the room, they asked, and I don't talk about this quite frankly very often, they asked if we could blur out anything around a person of interest, and we can do that on when you export video, and then you select through that appearance search, and you select you want to export it. In that export, we allow you to click on the object of interest, and then everything else can be blurred around that object. A lot of people don't ask about that, but we can certainly do it. So I think we've gone through 5 different searches, really 6 when you consider appearance search. You can click on an object and record it or describe it. Now we're getting to LPR. A lot of people don't realize that we do this, but in LPR, we've created a new engine inside of ACC6, and now, of course, goes into 7 as well. Very accurate. You don't have to configure fonts. You know, we used to have to worry about what state it was, all that kind of stuff. And you can take this license and you can apply it to an existing Avigilon camera or a third-party camera. But please get with our sales engineers and make sure you've got enough pixel density to get a good picture of that image, especially at night, because the normal Avigilon camera, say it's got infrared, it's one of our bullet cameras, you can use that for LPR. There's just some settings that you have to pay attention to so that you get a good image of that plate, because of course we've got tail lights, headlights, things like that to deal with, and it works. It just has to be, you have to look at the speed in which you're capturing images. You have to pay attention to the setup. The field of view is very important. We also have an LPR camera, and and it has a filter on the front of it with its own strong infrared source. So if I was really trying to make sure I got every plate, I would look at that camera, especially if the speed in which I'm trying to track an object is really important. So I'm going to show you both in the search today, but this is the 2 options, and obviously buying the LPR camera adds a little more to the budget as opposed to just dropping a license on a camera. What's great about this license is I can move it around if I wanted to. I've had college campuses do this where they'll put, based on, you know, if there's a football game or whatever's going on campus, they may apply the license to these cameras during game day and apply it to other cameras throughout the course of the week. So you have flexibility to assign that license to different cameras if you want. You can also create watch lists. This came up. They wanted to know, could I have a VIP list of, you know, if the boss or the regional managers are coming in and we want to know when they come in, the plate pops up. Yep, you can do that. You can create multiple watch lists, and you can see that we can handle an awful lot of cameras on these watch lists. Pretty powerful LPR engine inside of this. And something we don't talk enough about is the last search. So I think this will make 8 different searches, I think, today. And hopefully I can get through most of these, is identity search. And that's within ACM. So you have to have both Avigilon Video and Avigilon ACM Access Control. I can go in and type a person's name, search for that person in the ACM database. Then it will present to me everywhere that person has presented their card. The objective here is, do I want to see that employee where they went through the day, or maybe that employee's card was taken off their desk or found in the parking lot, and I want to see who was presenting employee's card throughout my facility. And I can then click on that person in the field of view and say, let's go run an appearance search and show me where this guy went. So it's a very powerful way to take appearance search to another level within ACM. All right, so let's go show you some of this. Now, I am running this webinar by myself today. My trusty sidekick, Laura, is in meetings. So if questions come up, I will do my best. I'm going to pause just a second because I do see some. And if I don't get to them today, I'll certainly respond to your questions via email, because I think most of you have your, oh yeah, this is a good one. I was just notified that I had an older price sheet on the drop down. I had September's, and I'm sorry. That's correct. Thank you for giving me that info. There is an October one, so don't download the September one. I'll, if you don't have it, email me and I'll shoot it to you, or just reach out to one of our regional managers or inside sales, and they'll get you the latest price sheet. Thanks for the heads up. All right, we're going to run into some of these quick searches, and I want you to see this because it's so important as a salesperson out there talking about Avigilon. Take that presentation, go through it with an end user, and then if you can even do a couple of these searches, this is such a hang up for end users because they are so often wanting to find information quickly, and it is always a hot button for them to say, oh, it takes me forever to find stuff. So here's going to be a quick thumbnail search. I'm going to go to the top left, click on the menu bar, go down to thumbnail, click on that, and I'm going to, let's see, I was on the Windsor site this morning as well. I'm going to actually go to this guy. All right, so I've had a report that people keep dumping trash into our dumpster, and so I'm just going to take this little guy and draw around where somebody would potentially dump into this, and then I'm just going to scroll my little wheel on the mouse back and extend my time. Grab that, and I got into work a little after 6, and I know the night shift before everything was clear, so I'm going to do a quick search of about 6 hours and just hit search. You can see at the top I can have different size thumbnails. I'm going to make them a little smaller, and then as it scrolls across, it's going to start to show, and each one of these has motion inside of them, and sometimes you'll see the motion there, but if I just double click, it'll zoom into it and start to show me anything that's right after this. And you can see the times are getting closer and closer together as I move across this. Now right there, you can see in this image, I've got somebody that came in at 110. And at this point, I can just right click, open and view, and it's going to show that, and I can hit play. So I just searched 6 hours in about 15 seconds and found somebody dumping into our trash container there. Now, of course, this is an employee, and they're supposed to be doing this, but it's just for the presentation, of course. So that's a pretty powerful search. It shows how quickly I could do a thumbnail. I had no idea when somebody dumped something. I searched 6 hours of time, and I found that very, very quickly. Second thing I wanted you to see is the difference in motion search and classified object search. So I'm going to jump over to this camera, and we will go into search here and hit motion. And right here in the display, you'll see pixel motion and classified object. Now, if it's just a normal non-analytic camera, you're only going to see pixel motion and UMD, because we all have UMD. But pixel motion is what you find from any camera on the market that's out there. I can go in here and say, all right, I'm going to clear this field of view. That's what these little icons are up here. That's clear everything. I could set everything by clicking that, or I could draw a region with a pencil. But I'm going to set an area right there with the plus. And I've got a report of somebody that was coming through here during the day. I haven't set my time yet. I'm just selecting a region, roll my mouse back. And I had somebody report that they saw somebody coming through the parking lot on foot, and they were just, looks like they were picking handles up on car doors to try to see what doors were open. And so I'm searching almost 4 hours of video. I do a quick search here, and it's going to look for any pixel change in that field of view. You can see 61 results. Now I can certainly click through this and hit play, And I'm going to go through, and each one of these is going to show me some kind of activity, but it's any activity, any kind of pixel change. And I can scroll right through here. There goes a car going through, jump to the next one, another car, jump to the next one. You get the idea. It would take me some time to go through each one of these 60 results, right? Well, I tell people, hey, our Avigilon analytic cameras will even give you the ability to speed up all your searches, because I can do classified object, because I still do hear occasionally somebody say to me, well, I don't need appearance search. I don't have problems like that to search for certain people. Well, I can speed up your search by tenfold just by my analytic cameras doing classified object search. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to drill down. And in classified objects, I do get a little better drawing tool, and I can move this around and draw any kind of shape that I want. And same general area, same amount of time. And I'm even going to drop my threshold here. I'm going to say I'm only interested in people. Remember, I can do that. And then I'm going to drop it down so I even maybe get more hits. Drop it down to 50% probability or confidence. And then I've got my 3 hours and 53 minutes, hit search. So instead of 61 results, I'm getting 14 results. And every one of these, I'll bet you, is the person. So we'll just hit play and look at that. That's pretty far away to pick that person up right there. I can just drop down. There's another person kind of walking halfway through my region of interest. So you get the idea. Very quickly, I can go in here and see the people that are coming through here. And 14 results, I'm going to be able to find my answer much quicker than if I'm looking at 60 plus results, right? All right. Hopefully that was helpful. I think it's a very powerful tool to talk to your customers about how you can speed up search. Now, our Windsor site has a camera set up with UMD. Nobody's talking about UMD other than Avigilon. It's the next generation, the next step in motion search. So all I'm doing here is I put this camera in playback, and I'm going to click off of unusual motion activity right there at the bottom left. And you'll notice the timeline has a lot of red in the timeline, meaning that's motion, that's activity. If I click on Show Me Unusual Motion, it then is only going to show me red lines where there is unusual motion, what it thinks is unusual activity or motion. Now notice this rarity bar. I pushed it all the way to the most rare. If I do it to the least rare, then you'll see more red lines. You see that? As I drill out, you should see more of them. So I'm sorry. That's more rare, so I'm going to see fewer of them. As I go to the far left, that's more rare, so I'm going to see less red. What you're seeing is some black lines in here. So what I'm looking for is some red activity to try to pull across. I told it I want it as rare. And Lord, you got to have something in here that's unusual. There we go. Looks like around 330. So if I'm just scanning to see what's different, it has taken all that motion away that I would have to look at. And it says this is the only thing we think is really unusual in this field of view. So let's play it. And it looks like it's going to be this big bus coming through there. Now remember what we're looking for in unusual motion. Location on the scene, speed, and direction. Those are the key things that we're looking for in unusual motion activity. Here's another one at 2:45, it looks like. 2:43. I'll click on that, see what we get here. Now this is in Windsor. Yeah, now it's catching up. Another big bus coming through. That's unusual for that area, I guess. So you could see unusual motion. I was looking at a huge timeline of video, and I'm asking it to show me just the things that are very or rare, but less rare than what I could have had, or more rare. Okay, I know that's a little confusing. And I was looking at everything: direction, speed, location, all. Next step in motion detection. And of course, each of these could be on our focus of attention screen to alert you to look at it if you're a live operator. I'm really focused today just on search. And remember, in focus of attention in ACC 7, these things can be presented to you as an operator watching live. Okay, appearance search, we'll do just a couple quick ones there. I think I'm doing okay with my time, which is great. See what, I'll pause just a second. Let me pause just a second, see if I've got any questions I need to address. I sure do. Yes, there is a newer Avigilon price list. It's October 18th, 2019, and we can get that over to you. And yes, there is a new ACM price list as well. We'll get that off to you. Anybody else that needs it, just I can send it to you, or you can just reach out to Inside Sales or your regional team, of course. All right. So let's do a quick appearance search. I'm going to open up a new search, and I'm just going to say appearance. If you haven't seen this, it's awesome. Every time I show it, everybody wants it. So, you know, I'm going to say female, blonde or brown hair, adult, and I'll say she had a brightly colored shirt, not sure if it was pink or red, and she had blue or maybe dark pants. I'm going to say search. Oh, I didn't set my time. I'm sorry. Let's try this again. Bear with me. I should have set this up a little better in terms of time. And you can see as I just move the timeline around, it's then re-indexing my search. So somebody reported that we had a person come through here. Come on, here we go. And there we go. So now we're searching across this time, and we'll see what we get. It's Tuesday, which is right now. Where's my search? There's the bar. All right, 8 a.m. So I don't see any brightly colored shirts so far. Oh, there's one. Now remember, when you do an appearance search, it's looking for anything that matches some of the criteria. You can see I said blonde or brown, female. So you can see there's red up top, blue bottom. So it's going to give you results for you to make a decision. We're not doing this all on our own. We need you as an operator to look at this and say, okay, that could be it. That does match female. Could be brown hair, red top, so dark lower. I'm going to hit the zoom. Let's go look at this and pull this video up. There she is. White box around her means that she matches the criteria. It's now trying to bring in the high resolution stream so that I can get a better image of her. A little slow. There we go. There she goes. All right, so that could be it. That could be her. I'll scan some more and see if I pick up anything else. There's a man with red. In this case, that looks like she's the one that may be the good fit. So if I highlight her or star her, it's really going to focus on her now, and it's going to try to re-index and really look for her. Boy, bam, we just picked up a lot of her, didn't we, on other cameras. Now, there's still some other females in this that you can see don't match the criteria, but now as an operator, I'm able to say, okay, I've isolated it to red, female, dark, hair, lower clothes also dark. Could this person be it? So I'm going to zoom into this and just take a look at this person and see if they do match, but they didn't report that they had a rolling bag that they were carrying. So I could probably filter that one out and say, you know what, I'm going to really focus on this one. This is the female that I think is it. Star. Oh, I already starred her. Let's star this one. And each time I star her, I'm going to get a little better results because it's looking at her now, kind of building a 3D model, front, side, back. So I'm going to get better results. And each time I star her, you can see that it's starring the timeline, right? Because then I'm able to export the video of her moving through the facility. And that's very powerful to talk to your customers about, is how we're able to find the beginning and end of somebody on campus or in the hospital or wherever the corporate campus may be. We're able to follow that person through all the different places they went. See, now she's trying to get into the building there. So I'm able to tag each of those. So that's a good, quick little appearance search. If you haven't seen this, please get your team to show it to you. And it's joint presentations. That's the way to do it, because once you start showing this, very powerful. All right, now let's jump over to LPR. I see other questions coming in. I'm going to just forge ahead, and then I'll try to answer them at the end if we have time. LPR, I chose our 2 LPR cameras. So I kind of set this up. I just clicked both of them, and I said, okay, I want to do a search. I just selected my time. It looks like I've got from 10:24 a.m. back to 11:59 p.m. the day before. So look, I wanted to get some nighttime shots as well. So then all I did, I'm searching 10 hours, and all I'm trying to show you is how powerful this LPR engine is. I hit search, and it brought up every result from the 2 cameras across that time. And you can see I selected, you can just select start time, and it starts from the earliest and goes to the latest, or I can select it again and it'll start at the latest and go to the earliest. So I'm going to do the easy one first and show you. I'll just select 9:48 a.m. and now it's going to show me with 63% confidence this 3 megapixel camera. I'm sorry, let's go to this 2 megapixel. This is the non-LPR camera. This is a standard Avigilon 2 megapixel B1 camera that is zoomed in, but you can see both lanes of traffic. And all I want you to see is, do we pick up and do we read the letters and numbers correctly? GZP 4472, we do. Great job. I could hit play, and it'll play that car as it goes through, so you can see the speed in which it's going through there, not very fast. Here's the next one. I'll select the next one here. JNV 7062. Let's take a look at this. And if you don't think every customer, and I'm sure you do, there's a lot of customers. Look at this now. Wait a minute. We got 2 plates in here. Looks like it grabbed this guy here. Now, if you don't know this, our LPR has a little green window when you set it up, and that's the window it's going to be focused on. And I have to guess the window's probably somewhere over here, because this is a pretty big field of view, 2 lanes of traffic. And based on the resolution of the camera and the region, that's where it's going to focus its attention. But you can see that it did a good job there as well. I'll scroll down to another one, see how it does here. CJ008. Here we go. Oh, it got that guy, I guess, coming in is what it did right there. So we'll see him coming through. That's the previous truck, right? All right. Now let's jump over to the tough one at night, the 3 megapixel. Now this, the 2 megapixel would pick up the plate in this region if the lighting was okay and if it was set up to capture a tighter field of view. I've done it many times and it works. But it does take getting the higher pixel density, need a little bit of scene light, or at least the infrared has got to be bouncing off that plate pretty good. What I'm showing you here is how we can do with the 3 megapixel LPR late at night. So let this come in. So this is designed, it has an infrared illuminator that's very strong. The field of view is still wider than I would typically do for LPR. I'll just hit play here. All right, so you can see it doesn't look very good right now, but as I zoom into it, it's probably going to clean up a little bit. Yep, there it goes, JNX 4848. So that is from a pretty darn good distance. You can see I'm seeing both lanes of traffic potentially. And I'll just jump to the next one. Take a look and see how we did here. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Here's another one. Let's see what that plate looks like. Now remember, this is the low res image that's coming in, so let's give it just a second. All right, there you go. Oop, let's back him up, come up. JNX 4848. Oh, I jumped to the other one. I'm sorry. I want this one. Hit play here. Pause. Again, low res image. Let's give it a second to bring that higher res image in. Come on, you can do it. Huh. I don't know why it's jumping like that on me. Well, let's just try a different one and see. Maybe I'm clicking something a little too fast. This is in Plano. I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. Not that that should matter, but let's see how we do here. All right, there you go. Now, look at that. MMM 5854. We didn't get all that very well, did we? We didn't on that one, but look at the one underneath it. And it looks like it's just a few seconds earlier, maybe. You see that? 12:38:26. So it's going to be a little sooner, and it's going to get a better plate, a better read on the plate. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this. A car goes through a field of view, and it's going to have many, many images of that field of view. So there we got it right there. You may have some that come in that aren't correct, but if you look at the one next to it, you may see that it is accurate. So here's one that's at an angle, and it looks like we picked it up pretty good. JJT 3313. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Now, if I go forward frame by frame, maybe I'll get a little better view. Yeah, that's probably what it did. So you can see that the LPR camera and the LPR engine, the license, those are the two items you need. You have to have the license, and you can apply that to a normal camera. Oh, and by the way, you can apply it to a non-Avigilon camera as well. So if your customer's got cameras already installed, and you can tighten that field of view down to where you're just looking at one lane, maybe a lane and a half, you're going to have better results depending on the resolution of the camera. I would tell you to get with our sales engineers, work with them closely on it so you don't get in trouble here by overselling. You want to over-deliver, and it's going to work out pretty darn well for you. Even on a third-party camera, we just have to set it up properly. If the cars are going through pretty quick, they're not going to a stop, they're not coming to a stop, they're not going over a speed bump, then I'd probably tell you to try to look at using one of our LPR cameras, this 3 megapixel HDLP. All right, so we're doing pretty good, 40 minutes in. Last search I'm going to show you is identity search. I bet nobody on this call, I'll tell you what, show me with a raise of hands, did anybody on this call know we had so many searches, different search options? I'll be very surprised. Oh, I do have a couple people. Oh, there's some Avigilon people. Well, of course you know, but most of you I bet didn't. So last search is going to be an identity search. So what we do is we go in. I don't have to have a camera necessarily selected. All I'm doing is I'm going in and saying, all right, I have a report that somebody lost their card, their credential, or maybe somebody said somebody fishy was in our building. Anyway, I'm going to click identity search, and then if somebody lost their card, then I'm going to type their name in. I know Ryan Ritter is there in Dallas at the Plano site, and I'm going to select him, and he pops up, and as soon as I select him, it's going to go out and search for anywhere he presented a card. It would help if I told it a time. So we're going to go today. Let's say we go 8 a.m. to now. So we're searching 4 hours, and we're going to search all doors. And all I do is hit search, and it's going to present to me, and we have this little device set up, so you have to use your imagination a little. What I'm showing you is we have a device that rotates credentials across a reader, and it has brought up every time, every camera that Ryan presented or this card was presented. Now I can select it, and you can see the time that it was presented, the door was unlocked, details about the door and the card and all that. Now, and normally this would be a picture, a video picture of Ryan entering the building, right? So I can just scroll through this And what I'm looking for is where it's not him because somebody took his card. And at that point, I would click on that and I would be able to see a short video of the person here on the right presenting his card. There's Ryan's picture right there. Boom. He just presented it to that door. And at that point, I could run an appearance search on the person holding that credential. And then it would show me a thumbnail of everywhere that person went in the field of view. We're not showing that here because we're not tracking people through our building like that. But and if you notice, we don't have any cameras that people can view inside our building for obvious security reasons. So this hopefully gives you an idea, and it's an easy thing to present. And that presentation did show you some screenshots with people in it. So please use that. All right. I hope that was pretty clear. So just kind of to summarize what we've done today, we've gone through thumbnail, where I don't know how long it is for me to look for something. I want a quick storyboard. I've done motion on pixel, motion on classified object. We did unusual motion, which is the next step in motion search. We did a couple different appearance searches. Actually, I didn't do the other appearance search. I just gave it the physical characteristics, didn't I? The other one is just finding somebody in that recorded video and clicking on them. I can do that real quick. LPR and then identity search. Those were the different searches we did, and hopefully that was helpful. The last thing I do want to touch on, I didn't know if I'd get to it, is we've searched for things here today. 7 or 8 different searches. And now we have to save that information, right? We've done a search, and now we want to save it. Well, if it's an appearance search, I can click here to export all the stars. If it was a thumbnail search that I had here, I can go right to this, right to the piece of evidence, right-click it and say Open View, and it's going to open at that point. And we've added a little something new. Right on the timeline, you're able to go in here where the event has happened right here, and you can say, I want to export. I can create a bookmark, of course. We've always been able to do that. But I can export right from the timeline now. So if I click export there, it's going to pop up a little window that says, here's your export. And I know this camera is in the Plano site. There he is. And I can set my time, whatever I want it to be. I'm just dropping it down. I don't need that much time. And I can say, okay, whatever the length of time of that person, because I watched him dump everything in there. And I can say, okay. Now, what happened there is it just took that video and it moved it to our export tab is what it did. You're not even looking at it at this point because I can continue my searches. If I wanted to go in and look at my motion search because I'm doing an evaluation of multiple events that happened, I can then go in here, right there where I found that individual walking through my parking lot. I can go right here and do the same thing. Export this video, add this export. Again, I would select the amount of time the person was in the field of view and watch what he was doing and then say, okay. And I, of course, can add other cameras to this too if I wanted to, but you can see I have that camera listed. If I wanted to select other cameras around it, I can do that. And I say, okay, that just got dropped into the export tab. So now what I want to do is have you look at that export tab. This is new. Before, it would jump you over to that export right away, and you would have to export things one at a time. This is very powerful. It takes a little more effort. I would tell you, make sure you bring your regional managers with you when you're demonstrating this for the first time. But it's a very powerful export where I can then go in and look at each of these. I can export them as a big group. I can export them individually just by selecting them and saying just export this. I can go in and tell it burn to disk. I can do them both at the same time. I can say export here. When I go to export, now it gives me some additional options of what I want to do here, where I want to export it, how I want to do that, what folders I want to put it in. So this is a new look for all this. list of how I want to view this. I can change my viewing options here. So it's a different twist to how we were exporting, and it's a much cleaner way to do it, where I can do all my evaluation, all my forensic searches, whatever may have happened, and then I can export them one at a time and then have it in this export files, and I can even blend them together under one if I wanted to. So there's a lot more flexibility here for you. Probably didn't do the best in going through all that because it's still pretty new to me too, but you know, I like to show you everything that's new. So I know I'm still learning that. So hopefully this has been helpful. We're right at about 50 minutes. I'm going to look and see if you've got some questions. Please drop them in. Let's see. Yes, this is recorded so that you can play it back. And I'm going to go ahead and I get this question a lot. I bet it gets emailed to me once every other day, I bet. So bear with me one second. All right, so let me show you where we keep all this information. All right, so if you go to our partner portal site, and if you haven't gotten access to this, go to, I'll just open up a new tab and show you. Go to avigilonpartnerportal.com and register. Oh, I'm already on, that's why it's, oh, no, it's done, it's just slow, there it is. All right, so Partner Portal, it's already logged me in because it knows it's me. And then under Training, click on Training. I had someone ask me for this today. And then under Training, go to Resources. Your screen may not look exactly like mine, but that's okay. Just go to Resources. And under Resources, you'll see that we have, the first one is the education end user webinars that Laura does every month. Those are targeting the education customers, the end users that are on that. You're free to join those as well to learn, but she does really talk directly to the end users. Here are my sales webinars. These are the ones that we've saved so far, so they go back to June. You can see ACC7, how to present Avigilon to an end user, adaptive IR, the H5 and ACC 7.2. And then I did one in October on why use our cameras for any application, third-party VMSs as well as ours, so that people understand the differences in our cameras. And then we'll drop this one in, and it'll be called Search. So I'm always open to new ideas. If you'd like me to cover something in one of these, it's recorded there for you to watch. If for some reason you have trouble getting on this partner portal, let us know. We'll help you get access to it. I can email you a link to the recorded session as well, but as long as you're on the partner portal, you'll be good to go. Please give me feedback. Let me know what you thought of today. It's very helpful for me to make these better each month. I really do appreciate and welcome your feedback. That's going to be it for today. Please join us next month. And I'll tell you what, don't miss next month, because I have a feeling you're going to see some additional searches that are going to really blow your mind that have to do with face match, face search, things like that. So stay tuned. A lot's coming. As you know, every month with Avigilon there's always something new. So thanks, everybody, and have a great week. Bye for now.